If you're thinking about buying a home in Halifax in 2026, there's a good chance you've been stuck on one question for a while now. And that's, should we wait until the market picks up in the spring and summer season? Almost every buyer I talk to has asked me this exact question. It makes perfect sense. The spring market always tends to feel safer. It feels like that's when everything starts opening up. And there's usually more listings, more options, more chances to find the right home for you and your family. But what most people don't realize is that spring doesn't just bring more homes to the market, it also brings more buyers. When you have more buyers in the mix, that usually comes with a bit more pressure, more competition, and far more decisions made based off of emotion. And not to mention, there could be a sense of feeling like you settled on your home instead of truly finding the right one for you and your family. This video, I want to walk you through the best time to buy in Halifax for 2026. But more importantly, we're going to be breaking down how to think about timing the market in a way that puts you back in control instead of reacting to a competition of the season. If you're new to my channel, my name's Logan Tomczyk. I'm your real-life realtor here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And my job is to help people make confident, well-planned real estate decisions, not rushed ones that are driven by fear or news headlines that don't even apply to the Halifax market. Now, I want to share a quick story with you because I think there's a very good chance you might see yourself in it. I was working with a couple who were first-time home buyers who had done everything right. They were saving for their down payment. They were watching listings online and trying to educate themselves as much as possible about the market. But every time we spoke, the same sentence just kept coming up again and again and again. And that's, we're just gonna wait until the spring. When I asked why, the answers were always very similar. They assumed there would be more choices. They assumed deals would be easier. It was pretty apparent that deep down, they were worried about making the wrong decision if they made their move too soon. Now, they weren't being lazy and they weren't unmotivated, not by any means at all. They were cautious. Honestly, after the last few years of volatility in the Halifax market, that reservation makes perfect sense. Here's what was interesting though. Even though they said they were waiting for the spring, they were already stressed. They were worried about bidding wars. They were worried about overpaying. They were worried about feeling rushed when the time finally came to submitting offers. We talked through their situation and their concerns. We took a different look at the market and we built an updated plan to address their questions, concerns, and to allow them to be more confident in the homes that we viewed and the strategies that we would use moving forward for them when purchasing their home. The reason behind their hesitations are the exact same reasons most buyers struggle with timing. I see these same concerns happen with home buyers every year. And don't worry, you're not alone. Now, let's talk about the biggest misconceptions in the Halifax real estate market. It's the idea that spring is automatically the best time to buy. Yes, more listings tend to come on the market in spring. But at the same time, a huge wave of buyers who've been sitting on the sidelines all winter jump back into the market. That surge in demand is what creates multiple offer situations, tighter timelines, and pressure to waive conditions just to compete. Earlier in the year, especially in the first quarter, the market behaves very differently. There's fewer buyers that are actively looking. Homes tend to sit a bit longer on the market. When a home sits longer, conversations with the sellers start to change a little bit. Sellers are often more realistic and more flexible and more open to negotiations. And don't forget, they want to sell their house too. This shift alone can completely change how buyers feel during the home buying process. Instead of racing against other buyers, you're often able to take your time. You can view homes properly. You can review documents at your leisure. You can ask questions without feeling like you're about to lose the house if you don't decide immediately, right now. Oh my God. For first-time buyers especially, that breathing room, it's huge. It's a game changer. Another advantage people underestimate is negotiations. In calmer periods like we have right now, buyers often have more leverage, not just on price, but on conditions. This is when inspections, multiple home viewings, finance conditions, flexible closing dates become much more realistic and in favor of the buyer. When competition is low, you're not negotiating from a place of desperation. You're negotiating from a place of clarity, and clarity leads to better decisions. Now, let's talk about pricing in 2026, because this is where a lot of buyers get stuck in wait mode. Most forecasts are pointing towards modest price growth in Halifax, roughly in the range of 2 to 3% over the course of the year. That doesn't mean prices are skyrocketing like they have in the past, but what it does mean is that waiting indefinitely isn't always a safe move that people typically think it is. In a stable market, time itself can become a cost. Every month you wait, prices can inch upwards as the year goes on, and buyers tend to re-enter the market, slowly increasing the competition. That combination can quickly chip away at your leverage. This doesn't mean you should rush out today and buy a home. Timing should always align with your finances, your lifestyle, and your long-term goals. But it does mean that buying earlier, when conditions are calmer, often gives buyers more control and less stress. Interest rates also play a big role here. Heading into 2026, we've seen far more stability than volatility. Rates aren't swinging wildly, and the predictability helps buyers plan more properly. A strong pre-approval gives you a clear budget and shows sellers you're serious about buying their home, which matters even more in a balanced market. Without clarity on your numbers, timing becomes guesswork. With clarity, timing becomes a strategy you can use to your advantage. Now, let's just quickly circle back to the buyers I mentioned earlier in this video who wanted to wait. Once we walked through how the market actually moves over the course of the year, not just how it feels, something clicked. They realized spring wasn't a magical solution. What they needed wasn't the perfect month, they needed a plan that gave them confidence. What we did is we ended up buying earlier than they had originally planned in a calmer part of the market. They were able to include the conditions they needed, avoid the pressure they were worried about, and most importantly, move forward without constantly second guessing their decision. Also, the icing on the cake was we were able to negotiate almost $25,000 off of the purchase price of their new home. And they're still there today. These are all real takeaways here. The best time to buy a house in Halifax for 2026 isn't about chasing a season. It's about understanding how the market behaves throughout the year and choosing the timing that gives you and your family the most control, clarity, and confidence. Now, if you're thinking about buying or even selling in Halifax or anywhere in Nova Scotia for 2026, having a clear roadmap matters far more than trying to time the market perfectly. Comment below Halifax in the comment section, and I'll send you a link directly to my free home buying and selling guide. You'll also find my contact information and helpful resources linked in the description of this video. If you want to talk through your situation one-on-one, I would love to connect with you today. I'm Logan Tomczyk, your real-life realtor, and I want to make your realty dreams happen.